Welcome to Unhindered Soul and the Magic Within. I'm your host, Angela Cassie, and I'm here with Arnie Layton. He is an oracle card deck creator, a reader, digital portraits. He does digital portraits, and he's also an online speaker. So it's so nice to see you, Arnie. I know that we met briefly at the Eyes of Learning fundraiser, which I love to do because they just do such great things, and it's a great center. It's the original, way back when this was not really a thing or known or popular, I should say. They were doing work and learning behind the scenes, and now it's just great to be able to give back and help them.
Yep.
So Arnie, I'm really excited to hear your story, and I know everybody else is also. And I just wanted to ask, just a little bit about your background and kind of lead up to where the first, can you remember the first moment that you realized your own magic? So
Okay.
let's see what.
Let's see. My background, basically, I worked in IT for years. That's one.
Okay.
As far as like how this started for me, it was when I was small, actually. When I was small, I would see things in my room and I would try and tell my mother like what I would see. Like I would see what appeared to be children in the room, but I really don't believe they were children. And I would try and explain this, and it was played off as it's your imagination, like that. And as time went on, it became a little bit less. And then there was an instance where I remember I was playing in the street and I was running between two cars. And I was going just running. I wasn't even paying attention. And it was like I hit a wall. And I don't know what it was. I don't know how I stopped. And it just like it scared me. And I didn't understand how that could be, how that happened. And from that point on, what I used to see went away quite a bit. It didn't go away totally, but as you know, in this world, the things that get done to us from when we're with children to further on to like disbelieve in what is actually real, kind of puts that to the side in a way. So for years, I mean, I've always been an empath, but I never knew what it was. So just through life and that, a lot of things like I would sense on people or I would sense things, and I couldn't understand why if I feel you this way, why are you saying this? And it just like I thought I was going crazy for most of my life. And then I met someone later on in my life after divorce, and we were together for 15 years, and I was extremely happy. We had the fairy tale. And then she passed away. And when she passed away, actually right before she passed away, I started to become a little bit more aware again. I was starting to trust again, like what I was feeling inside. When she passed, that was the point where everything started to open up for me again, where things started coming to me, where I started meditating. And that's how these cards actually came that I do. They were through meditation, and I would get little bits and pieces. I would get like light codes, not knowing what it was for. And as time's gone on, I've just trusted. As I trust more, more comes to me. That's my story.
Wow, that's awesome. And you do hear a lot when somebody close to you passes that these gifts kind of open up even more. And obviously there was something there already. And and of course, I always say everybody has the ability, but it's just some are a little bit more, it's just a little bit stronger or just meant to do this work. It's like anything else. If you're a painter, you paint, you're really great at it. And if you're a lawyer, you're great at being a lawyer. And if you build houses, you're great at building a house. But so maybe I couldn't do it. Well, I have the ability. Everybody has the ability to learn, but it's just different. So,
Yeah.
and again, it's funny because I just did an interview yesterday with Jessica Robinson, and she was talking about how she was a child, she was encouraged to use these gifts and to kind of use her imagination and use her connections. And but so many people like you, and I was saying that to her, like so many people like you and I kind of weren't really encouraged for that. Like you did have that feeling, you did see things, but it was you were told, nah, it's your imagination is nothing. So sadly, we as we grow and like you were saying, we winds up tampering that down because we don't believe it. And if we don't believe it, then it's not gonna happen, right? It's just pushed aside. So, and then I think that's beautiful that you had that, like you said, a fairy tale kind of relationship, and obviously you're very close. And when she passed, it really triggered that connection to spirit. I love it.
And everything is divine timing too. And
True.
I've really grown to appreciate that because she was bipolar also, and certain things would freak her out. So I was becoming more aware of myself before she passed, and I was looking into, like mediums and all of that. And sometimes when they make connections to people, like something like that, even though she was spiritual, certain things would trigger her and throw her off. So I also put it to the side with that too. Just my own looking into, but I really didn't say much about it. And it's just amazing how things do happen, and there are no coincidences. I always say that it's on the back of my card because everything happens as it's supposed to, when it's supposed to.
Oh, I agree. And yes, I see it's your business ascend from within. I remember passing by. So the cards came to you after she passed, and that's when you started creating them.
Yeah,
You had
actually,
you had many. You have so many.
it was actually at a meditation with Kelly Talakison and
Mm-hmm.
Fazio was
Kelly's great.
the first the first light codes I got was there, and I didn't know what it was, and I just like wrote them down, and I was like talking to like Lisa and Kelly with them a little bit, like, and she was like, just pay attention to that, trust in it, and just keep going with it. And as time went on, I would get I would see like a lot of them in the meditation, but when I would come out of the meditation, I wouldn't be able to grasp like everything that was there. So things started to come in time, like I would get them over again, and I would always have a journal with me, and I would write things down, and the sayings and whatnot. And the whole thing is you really just have to trust and you have to believe. You can't have fear, and
Yeah.
you have to just believe and trust in it. And I never thought 4 years ago I would be doing what I'm doing and what I've created. Never,
Isn't
never.
it amazing?
Mhm.
It's so true. We just finished saying that. I just said it to friends. I'm like, it's amazing how when you change your mindset and what you can accomplish and what you wind up doing, you're like, wow, I never thought I would be doing that. Actually, we just said that yesterday with Jessica. She's also creating a deck, and so it would be her first deck, and it's exciting, like she was saying that you kind of, and like you were kind of saying, for her it was more of like she was pushing to have it a certain way, but you have to let it go and let it where
Yes.
it's supposed to be, right?
Hmm.
And kind of you knew that receiving things, and obviously they gave it back to you again because this is obviously a channel. I'm sure this is a channel thing, right? That they're just working for you, your guides, and working. I always say like it's a team, right? So that's pretty cool. And as far as the artwork and all of that, how did that come about? Because it's a lot. You have to figure out the artwork. You have to have the obviously channeling the meanings and all of that.
It's just funny how you can lose something and you get it back too. That's another thing. I was injured years ago, twice in fact, and I have severe problems in my back and my neck. And I never went for surgery, never believed in that. I did my own healing, and I got to the point where it's tolerable. I can, do most things. And now I totally lost track of what I was thinking.
You were saying that it's amazing what you can do.
Oh, right. Okay. So with that, I mean, I used to draw by hand when I was younger a lot. I used to draw animals, scenes, all of that. And with the accident, it did nerve damage to my hands and my legs a little bit. And I can't find, paint or anything like that anymore. I can't do it. And also instrument wise, I play guitar. I used to play a lot. And it's hard because sometimes I just don't have that coordination I used to have anymore. And you get things back in different ways. So I worked in IT for years, and I'm very good at graphic design. So the artistic expression came through that way. So that's how I'm able to do like a lot of the cards and the portraits also. Like I did a set of 7 angel portraits of healing with light codes in them, and they're basically the person that passed away. I used her image in that to create them
Wow.
because I know she's always with me. She's always working with me
Yeah,
and always around me.
that's amazing. So like you said, and
Mhm.
sometimes things that aren't so easy can transition into something else. And obviously, um, it makes it also a little different too. So it's still you creating it, but you're doing it in a different way. I love
Right.
that. That's amazing. And you can use, like you said, her portrait, kind of use it in there.
Mhm.
Wow. So, what was I gonna say? And you said you also played music, so you're very artistic in general already, sounds
Yeah.
like. And yet you're IT, so that's interesting. Um, because isn't that almost like two separate things in some ways? It's very, but I guess it depends on what you do on the computer, because you're creating. Um, yeah, it's interesting, and I also feel like being an empath, maybe being on the computer, kind of kept, you're not in the middle of 20 people with customer service. It helps out because I've always been in the middle of everything. I work I worked in doctor's offices, I in front desk and testing people, and I work in a school. So it's like I always have a lot of people around me, and I never realized as an empath, because I'm a big empath, that I was taking on so much. And now that I understand that, I can, put my armor on and put the light around me and protect my own energy. And whenever I feel off, I know that I can just say, it's not mine. You're not of me. If it comes off after I say you're not of me, be gone, then it's mine. And if not, it's not mine. So it's
That's
pretty
what I was.
cool to
Yeah, that's
have
what I was
that.
mentioning before too. With that, for years I didn't. I was like, "What the hell's wrong with me?" It's
Yeah.
like, why am I feeling this? I'll be around people. You go to like a concert or something like that, and you get
Yeah.
that feeling
Yeah,
like that.
you leave like stressed out. I mean, some people, so I studied with Pat Longo originally, and then I had some other teachers too. And had her book had just come out, Gifts Beneath Your Anxiety, and I never realized when I read that book, and I'm like, wow, that really helped me connect. Like this has been going on all this time, and I never realized. Some people can't even be in a crowd like that. Imagine going to a concert and you're to that point where you just can't. There's so many. I feel like a lot of kids too. They were in the class, and there were a lot of children there. That I wouldn't say children. I would say teenagers that literally couldn't go to the mall because they just didn't want to be around a crowd like that. It's too much. So, but you were, being told like it's all your imagination and oh, you're sensitive and you're fine. I mean,
Yeah,
for me, I always liked being around people though. I do enjoy people. Obviously, I'm doing this. If I could do it in person, it would be great even, but that's fine either way. But for me, I enjoy people, but I just don't realize how much I do take on because if something's sad or somebody's upset, I know immediately, and and you try not to take that on too because it's a
yeah,
lot to deal with, like your own things and then other people's energy.
oh yeah.
So let's see. So can you remember that first moment though that you really connected? Like, wow, this is actual, because it sounds like you always had it, but it just kind of pushed it away for so long. Was there like that pivotal moment that you were like, what? This is real.
I would say one meditation in my yard when right after she passed, and I lost time. In the meditation, I felt like I was in that meditation for about 5 minutes, and it was like 4 hours later, and I did not fall asleep. So I don't know if I somehow opened a portal, went through a portal, and that happened. But in my yard, I have a lot of things happen out there. That's where I get a lot of the things, the light codes. I have a cemetery right in the backyard.
Oh, well, that's, yeah. That's a portal. Yep.
It's peaceful, and I get a lot of information that way out there.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, and just being in nature too. I mean, connecting with the energy of the earth and
Mhm.
earthing. I mean, that's just amazing. I went for a walk yesterday and I was fascinated. We forget to look at the beauty that's around us because we're so caught up in the moment of our, you know, jobs and coming home and going shopping, bringing the food in, cooking, like our everyday lives. And we don't take those moments to look at all that and to feel,
Yeah,
with nature. I shouldn't say we don't, but most people don't. Obviously, you do because you do, say you do it all the time. But I know I forget. And yesterday I'm walking and I'm seeing this birds, and I call it the party tree because at night they kind of go in one tree and they're chattering and then they fly around and it's just beautiful. I was watching it and really was nice, and it did definitely helps reset you. So it's like a reminder for everyone. I'm also a health coach, and I know how important that is to have that balance of everything. But we have to be reminded, all of us. Doesn't matter what you know; it's just actually doing it. So
yeah,
you get caught up in those moments of you know everyday life, and we forget to take to stop and take a breath and really look around to
yeah.
do that. So as far as your cards now, what would you like to show us some? I don't know if you're able to show us some.
This is the last thing that I actually did, and it's the flame of love. It's like all different sayings with love in different scenarios.
Oh, wow, that's
It's
beautiful.
like some of these come to me in meditation. Some of them I just there's no coincidences. Things will keep happening, and I'll always find things around love, centering on love, images on love, things like that. And that's like my cue. Okay, do something with this. And
Yeah.
I never knew what it's going to be in the end, but that's what that came to be. But I have
And
done,
that,
hmm,
yeah, you go ahead. I'll go back
I've
to it.
done, I have done 16 card decks in all in
Wow.
roughly 3.5 years.
Wow, that's a lot.
One thing too, you mentioned before about like Jessica creating cards. Anybody that wants to create card decks and doesn't know how, online on YouTube, in like one of the earlier videos I did, I created a video on like how I created this, this particular deck
Oh, okay. That's beautiful. Wow.
to try and help people that want to do this and don't know how or afraid to, that they could do it too.
So what we're gonna do at the end is, when I post it, I will put all your information so that they can, access that video and do that. Yeah, it's a lot. It's so much. It's not just one thing. You have to, figure out how to create them and then print. It's a lot. But
Hmm.
that's what I was gonna say before, and I love what you said, and it's so true. And even for myself, this YouTube, channel, it's you always want to wait for it to be perfect, but you sometimes you just don't know where it's going to lead, but you have to follow it and it turns out, it kind of goes in that flow of like wherever it's supposed to be. And that's the beauty of it. Just letting go and having faith, like you said before, that it's going to wind up where it's supposed to and how it's supposed to. So everybody we hold back because we want everything to be a certain way or perfect, or I have to wait until I figure it out. No, that's not always the way. Sometimes you just have to do it. And if you didn't, you wouldn't have 16 decks in 3.5 years, or you wouldn't be doing the things that you're doing. And,
Yeah.
I feel like I just feel a lot of peace from you, even though I obviously lost someone very dear to you. I feel like where you're at with your spiritual gifts and there's so much more to come, but I just feel like I feel a peace in you. And it's almost like that's what I feel. My word was joy when I connected for the first time because I just didn't understand it, even though I'm Catholic. I wouldn't call myself religious. I'm more spiritual, but of course I still connect with Jesus and Mary and the angels. So for me, that's how I connect. It doesn't have to be through a church. It doesn't have to be, it's just you know, how you work best with your connection. So that's how I connect. But, so obviously I'm gonna say, how did it change your life? How did this change your life? I mean, obviously so many ways, but I'm just curious as to what. What other ways?
It changed my life for the better because it finally let me be me. It let me express. Even now, like I'm doing music. Years ago, I wrote music. I wrote a bunch of songs. I was going to be in a band. Never happened. And I found those lyric sheets like maybe 4 months ago. And I said, I'm
Oh,
going to do
wow.
this. So I said, I don't have a backing band, but I can create a backing band. So I used Suno and I put in how I wanted everything to go. And I just got done actually doing that. I'm going to post it on 11/11, the last thing that I did, creating
Oh,
music.
wow.
Yeah.
So you're able, do you sing? Like, are you like, in other words, are you singing or are you?
No, but I can program it in to how I want the tone to be and
Yeah.
the tempo, the rhythm, all of that. So
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, obviously you have the knowledge and using the computer, using knowledge of IT and all that and combining it with your creative side like that. So amazing what we can do, right? But so all of this is like you said, divine timing. It's all coming together how it's supposed to.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just
And to be in a band, it's a lot. It's a lot because,
yeah,
maybe you wouldn't be where you're at now if you would have done that,
I might
you
be
know.
dead if
Right,
you know,
exactly. You just never
yeah.
know. So
It's,
so I just love hearing these stories and I love hearing it, a lot of similarities, but yet and then yet not. So it's great. So how did it change others around you? How did doing this work and just coming to yourself? Because I feel like for me, and I'm going to use it as an example, because we know this work isn't easy too. It's not just like, oh yeah, I'm a psychic medium or I'm creating cards. There's so much more to it. There's a lot of shadow work involved. There's a lot of looking at our life and healing trauma. And there's so much. I mean, obviously it's trauma when we were little to have these experiences and then be told that we weren't, we were just imagining it. It's no big deal. Meanwhile, we knew there was so much more. And that's, I wouldn't call it trauma, but it's definitely something that we have to look at and accept as part of ourselves because even though, it's real, we're told by our parents, no, that's not good. Or people might say it's not good. Oh, you shouldn't do that. Or whatever it is, and we take that on as our own and we have to kind of let go of those limiting beliefs and push to where we know we need to be, but it's not so easy. So
no.
how did that work with you and how did it affect others around you when you connected?
Well, the first thing I'm going to say too is definitely the inner healing. You got trauma, anything like that, inner child, especially inner child.
Oh
The
yeah.
person I had mentor me helped me a lot with that. Actually, explained the way to like do meditation to go back and confront that and heal that. And that's one thing too. We're never done healing.
No,
You know,
we're never done healing.
continue to do this,
Gets a little easier, but it's not done.
but that's one thing we have to do. And as far as like affecting others or being affected by others, I lost a lot of friends, I guess, along the way because they don't believe or they think I'm
Right.
crazy. So that's one way. My family, um, when I started telling them things that were going to happen, like in the future, like in what's happening now around the world, I was saying this maybe 6, 7 years ago. I was just going by
Ah,
then, and these things have happened. The same thing, but like, I'm not going to say the word, but that I was telling people about that before it even happened because I knew that was
wow.
going to. So yeah, I lost a lot of people, and even the way I am, I guess my personality or whatever, I get, and this is part of, I guess, what I have to experience too. I shouldn't say it's because of others, but I get judged a lot. People judge me wrongly. People will judge me right off, one or two things, meeting me or seeing me. And I've had a couple of people come back later and go like, yeah, I thought you were one way, you're not.
Yeah.
But that's, I guess, one of the contracts and things that I have to go through to experience and learn too. But yeah, I think it's great because even though like some people are distanced now, like from all of this, in time they'll come back because we're going to have to be there to help people.
Yep.
and actually they will come back. But the group of people like I'm associated with now, and the people like you meeting you, like I know you work with like Lillian and Lori.
Yes.
They're great.
Oh my
It,
God, they're great.
it's just great meeting people and like-minded people, and when I'm in that situation, I feel like I'm at home.
Yes. It's so
That
nice to have people, like you said, like-minded people and have a group to go to. And that's what I loved about classes also, because, I remember the first time I sat in Pat's class, it was in person at the time. It was right before COVID. And it was just so nice to have people understand what I'm going through because it is different, right? It's not everybody can understand that. And um it was just, and then having the Facebook groups afterwards and all of that, it's just nice being in that group and co-creating too, like not just obviously doing this with you and doing like this to me is so awesome because having this conversation with people and really, knowing them in some ways and in ways that we probably wouldn't have if we just had a different conversation, maybe. I don't know. It's just, I think it's important for people to see that and to put that out there. But yeah, I totally agree. It's so nice. It's so nice to have, and to work with Lori and Lillian and do my own work too, of course. But it's just been great. And how we all have something different that we have to offer. Doing the psychic circles has been, and even seeing it because I've done it, but then seeing it is really cool too. And having those four different mediums come in the room and they have no idea what the other one said, which is nice. And then hearing what they have to say, even if they're not reading you and hearing them, read other people and how they are and their personality. And I can understand, watching that, I understand myself more and even just in general how reading works and all of that. It's beautiful. So yeah, very exciting to be a part of that. And watch it grow and watch Lori's kind of guiding that.
Mhm.
So she does one thing and I'm doing this and Lillian will do something else. And we all include each other in it. And it's just beautiful when you have that nice balance of and just celebrating each other. For me, it's wonderful to celebrate other people because it's not just me, it's everybody has something different to
Yep.
offer. And obviously what you're doing with the oracle cards and with your music and how you're doing it because it's different, right? And
Mhm.
it's just great. I love it. So let's see. So as far as your family, they're accepting it more than now. You're
Uh, my two sisters, yeah, that they believe like wholeheartedly what I'm doing, and people pretty much close around me, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's important. To have that I mean, my husband will joke around with me and he'll do the, oh, let me see what I'm getting. But he kind of knows, it's hard for somebody to understand if they're not doing the work. It really is. And I can understand that. So I just laugh, it's fine. It's all good. It is funny. I'm blessed that I've had, for me, I know you're saying a lot of people kind of like, what? But for me, I am very blessed that a lot of my close friends and family have accepted, okay, well, I mean, I was surprised. I'm like, wait, I just told you I'm a psychic medium and and you're just like, okay, like what happened here? And I didn't expect that. I thought they were going to be like, freaked out or and and instead they embraced it and me, and I'm just so grateful for that, especially one of my best friends. I was really worried about telling her,
Mhm.
and she was she's like one of my biggest supporters. She bought everything, and she gave me some things with my Unhindered Soul name, and she's just been great. And then her dad passed and I was able to give her a message. And now I've known her since I'm 14, so you would think there wouldn't be anything else to tell her, right? But that's so not true. There's things that I couldn't possibly know, and that came through. So um it was really a confirmation for her that her dad is still there, and it was beautiful. So I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful to be where I am. And I feel like you feel the same way. I feel like of course there's always more and there's more growth and there's always
Yeah.
more of everything. But on the whole where I am now, and I'm looking forward to more amazing things. So I'm gonna ask, how does your magic show up in the work that you do and transition to the people that come to you. So when you do your readings or when you do any of the things that you offer, like even your oracle cards, your oracle cards, right? Yeah, oracle.
All right. Well, pretty much every day I do a Facebook poll, a collective poll, and I've been doing
I
that
like
for
that.
about a year and a half now. And just some of the replies from people, oh, this is great. This is how I'm feeling. Had you know, like, this is definitely for me. Those things like that, I love. I love that. And doing the events that I do the like the holistic shows and that, and just the communication back and forth with like people, and they'll be like, "Wow, this really touched me," and I really resonate like with what you're saying, how you're doing, and everyone. We just have so much in common, all of us. It's amazing. And if you go back 20 years ago, like you were just saying, like with your friend and that, right? 20 years ago, you couldn't even say, well, I'm a psychic medium or, oh, I believe in this. And in that 20 years, how things have changed. Just imagine another 5, 10 years. More
Oh
people
yeah,
more aware and more self-aware and,
yeah,
believing. But yeah, I've had a lot of positive, especially going to these events and online, with people and connections. I love it. That I love. That's a
yeah.
good.
And that's the thing, when you get that confirmation later on, like, oh, guess what? You were right about, because it could be a year later when you're doing, and that's the thing, when you're doing psychic mediumship, when you're doing mediumship, it's a pretty much an immediate confirmation usually. Whether you're doing a one-on-one or whether you're doing a gallery reading. But when you're doing psychic work and it's something like I do, I also, there's things that I received. I actually got a little freaked out at one point when I was a couple of years in. I think that was when I think that's what was it? When they I remember seeing tanks and what's his name? Oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? Um when one of the big Islamic leaders was taken out. And I
Mhm.
remember seeing the 2 days before I saw these tanks and I saw this scene and I saw at the time I saw this like I was in the air and I guess I was in an airplane and I saw the rocket get shot down to where it was target was. And the next 2 days later I'm watching the news and there's the truck, the exact scene that I had seen the truck going on the exact, it was just amazing. It was like literally a snapshot of it. And I got freaked out. And I'm like, I don't want to know it. I don't want to know the future. I don't want to know, and I kind of cut that off a little bit. And now I just ask, like, if I need to know, like, let me know, because I was kind of just like, what's going to happen? I left it open when I was doing my meditation, like, what's going to happen? Like, show me the future. Whereas now I'm like, okay, show me something if I need to know, because I'm
Mhm.
just a little bit, it is kind of freaky and scary when you see that. But there's no confirmation until maybe a year later sometimes. And so, when you get that confirmation later on from people, or like, oh my God, this really helped me, whatever it is. I know from my friends when they ask me questions and then they'll confirm. Whether it's a week later or a month later or 3 months later, it really is helpful for us to like as a reader, um,
Right.
to trust what we're feeling and seeing. And so I'm at the point, and it does happen every once in a while where you kind of like, because when you're reading a gallery or doing like cards like that online, um, when you're reading a bunch of people, sometimes they're not understanding what you're saying, or even one on one, they're not understanding what you're trying to say. And then like I say like just take it and put it on the side. You might not know the information now, but write it down and then it might come later on to you or whatever. It's all about trust, and it's trust in what you're seeing and knowing and feeling, and letting it go after that, because it's not really up to us to figure out what it is. We can only explain what we're feeling and seeing, and then it's up to the person that's getting read to kind of understand, well, okay, great uncle Frankie from passed away 10 years ago, but he did this. Maybe they don't know about it and they have to ask someone. So that's what you know I always try to stick with.
Yeah, that
um
could be tricky too, because when you're going that far into the future too, and you're giving information, There's always free will. Free will can
Yes,
also,
that's true. I explained that. Yep.
and also, I mean, I really believe in this. There's so many different timelines and different realities within this one. You know, we're all fractals of self, and in a way, this is how I explain deja vu. It's like a part of you going to, a fractal of yourself going into the other timeline of life and bringing it back into this one. And the same thing with the Mandela effect, like things like that.
I
You know,
had that. I had so much deja vu with when I was dating my husband, before I dated him, I should say. It was amazing because I we were kind of like friends before, and he was actually I was dating someone else even. And it was crazy when I walked into his house and I had deja vu, and I'm like, I feel like I've been here before. And then we went
mhm.
on a double date and we're in his truck, and I'm like, I feel like I've been here before. And then my like a year later we wound up dating with the blessing of the person that I was dating. It was just wasn't serious. And I'm like, wow, this feels right. Like I feel like this is the way it's supposed to be. And it's just amazing. Um, but yes, free will. And if you would like to explain free will for somebody who doesn't know what free will is, and it's so true. And I always say that also when I do a reading, like just know that you have free will. So the energy that I'm feeling at this moment is
Yes.
what I'm
Yeah.
receiving. But if you want to explain
Mhm.
what free will is.
Yeah. I mean, we always have a choice. Do you want to go left? Do you want to go right? And that's another thing. But I believe that when you decide to go left, there's always that right path.
Yeah.
And another version of you is going to experience that right path.
Ah, see, I never thought about that. That's
Yeah.
interesting. So I like that. I didn't think about another version of yourself doing that. But
Mhm.
it is a lot to take in, but there are parallel universes. There are um many versions of ourselves and I know somebody was talking about, I'm not sure where I heard it, but they were talking about accessing that other version of yourself that's already done what you want to do, and you can tap
Future
into
self.
that. I think
Future
that
self.
might have been, what's that? I'm not sure. I think it was one of the not sure where I heard that. Well, it doesn't matter because the information was there, but yeah, it's when you start getting really deeply into this, it's very
Mhm.
interesting, and there's so much more that we don't really understand and know yet. But and maybe we're not ready to know it. We have to be ready to receive that information. I know that there were things that what was it? You ever watch Gaia, the channel Gaia?
No.
So it's a channel and it's great. It has a lot of information on there. They have Joe Dispenza, they have, you know, aliens, they have like all these different things. It's so much. And maybe 5 years ago, I wouldn't have understood a lot of the information in there. But now, as I've learned and grown, I understand that there's so much more that we don't know. And I've always had an open mind. But now I really do have an open mind to understand that there's so much more that we don't know. And as I open up, I find out more information. And, even just experiencing some of the classes and seeing different people, everybody does something different. Some people channel, they actually, take on the characteristics, which I've done. Um, but their face actually changes. Like they're actually like literally step aside where I'm just kind of like just feeling it and just feeling their energy and kind of acting like them. Like I'm like, why am I yelling? I think I remember I was doing the gallery reading, last one I not the last one, the one before that I did. And I'm like, I feel like this woman's a force. And then I started, almost like not yelling at the person, but like I was very aggressive and like, why am I being so aggressive? And she's like, that's how she was. It was her grandmother, and she was like the matriarch of the family, and she was forceful, and I was like, wow, it really, it's just so funny how their energy comes through so strongly that way. But some people will actually literally like they step aside and they come in and they'll see their face
Yeah.
changes, their voice changes. It's amazing. I don't know if I love that so much, but but everybody's different, and there's so much more. That's all. I just like to be open to all the possibilities and to understand that there's more, I'm open to learning and growing, and there's more than we know, and all of that. Um, so let's see what else. I think we're almost at our time, but is there anything else that you would like to speak about? As far as your work and what you're doing and what you plan on doing?
Well, more so, it's what's going on in the world right now. It's also going on in the spiritual. There's a lot of division. I see a lot of division, and that's one thing. Also, like even at the fairs, I see where there's a lot of conflict.
Yeah, yeah,
That conflict is, like I said, it's kind of like what's going on in the world right now. There's an energy that is, trying to cause division to keep everybody divided. And it's the same thing in the spiritual. Don't fall for it. Take two steps back, go within. And that's funny too, that the name of my website, where the hell that came from when I
I was
first,
going to ask about that. Ascend from within.
before I even did anything, right after she passed away, I created that website.
Wow.
Not really even, I'm getting chills, not even really knowing why that name. Now it makes total sense to me because I always say that go within, go
Yeah,
within. Information is always within, God's within, everything like that. Just go
so
within
true.
and trust and don't react. Take time to take a step back and observe, take in information, let it process for you, and go with your gut. Always be your authentic self. Speak your truth. Things like that.
Have
Yeah.
integrity. Like that's what we always
Yeah.
taught. Like have integrity. Like speak your truth and all of that. Yeah. And it's interesting because I feel like years ago, and you have to understand, like this has progressed, of course. I mean, obviously, what was it, 50 years ago, maybe that Eyes of Learning had started. So you have to remember, like back then, it was different. Maybe I feel like even now, like maybe the past couple of years, it's starting to change. But I feel like it was a lot of what that one person did, and now it's starting to become like, let's do things together too, because that's important. And I feel like it's important for everybody to kind of come together like this, especially during this time of division in the world. And like you said, there's no reason, like everybody's different. We could both be readers and be totally different, and the person that's going to be drawn to you is going to be meant for you because your energy is matching, or your energy appeals to them, and that's what they need. So it
Mhm.
doesn't matter. I mean, we I was at Kristen Tinsley. I don't know if you know her. Kristen Tinsley's fair. She had a fair a couple weeks ago, and or a little bit more. And there were maybe 15 readers there, and every one of them was so different. So like now these people coming in, they're going to connect with who they feel is right for them, and like I said, when I say different, everyone was so different. Actually, that's where I saw Jessica, and Jessica, we were sitting together, and she just fascinated me because she was so magical. And
Mhm.
again, with you with your oracle cards, and when I was walking by, I'm like, you need to come on. I don't know, you need to come on, because who I know is not going to be who you know. And I
Right.
really feel like your cards are special, and that people need to see that, and they need to work with them. So, and obviously you have so much more, you're doing so much more, but that was the first thing that I saw this whole lineup of beautiful decks, and I'm like, why aren't you like, why doesn't everybody know, like everybody should know about these decks, because it's important. We have to support each other, and help each other shine, because we all have that beautiful light. And you know, um, it's not going to make my light shine less by shining light
Right.
on you,
Yep.
or somebody else. And if anything, it expands it more, because I get to, collaborate and work with different people, and it just brightens my day and makes me
Mhm.
so happy. And the intention of this whole podcast is to, my intention is that somebody will listen and resonate with what you might have said or somebody else had said, and then help them find their own magic, or make them, you know, um, kind of put aside their fear and step forward and do what they're supposed to do. Because every little thing that we put out is going to help everyone. It's a ripple effect.
And just what you said is exactly how I know you are doing things for the right reasons. And definitely, it's because that's how I feel. I'm the same way. Like the cards, whoever's meant to find them, see them, will find them. They
Exactly. And
don't.
I know you said that.
They don't
And I
have
know
to
you
be
said that,
signed.
but obviously we're gonna put it out more. It's true. It's so true. Whoever's gonna it's meant to find them. But it just reminded me of a story that I that I learned in I was in a Course in Miracle class, and you know um it was the story of this man who his boat sunk, and he's on this raft, and he's like waiting. He's like, God's gonna save me. God's gonna save me. And I don't know. I'm not gonna tell the story right, but the gist of it is that it's like jokes. I can't remember jokes either. I'm terrible. So I kind of put it to how I remember. But basically he keeps getting these things that come by to save him, and he's like, nope, God's gonna save me. God's gonna save me. And finally he's like, he starts drowning, and he's like, but God was gonna save me. But he did. He tried to save you. So yes, I agree that whoever's meant to be will be drawn to it, but there are different ways, right? So um the information will be put out how it's supposed to, and this was meant to be, I feel like, part of it. And yeah, I feel like it's gonna help too. So um, you know, there are things that we don't realize we do or say, and we're like, how did that just happen? Like I left, and I'm like, wow, I'm glad that in this spiritual world, we can do things like that and be like, "Hey, I think your cards are amazing. Like, would you want to come on my podcast? I don't know you I never met you before, but I think that's pretty cool." And I felt your energy, and it felt right. Like I saw your cards, and it just felt right. And it always seems that people that I do connect with are of like-minded, whether I met them for a second or whether I met them, and I know them for years. So I'm just so glad and grateful, and I appreciate that you came on to share
Thank you.
your
Thank you.
story, and I'm going to definitely post your information so that people can contact you and purchase your cards. Are you like, where are you coming up now? What are you going to be doing next?
I'll be at the Holtzville Fair, December 7th.
Okay,
I'll be
that's
there, and
coming
then
up soon.
in Plainview on January 25th. Yeah.
I love it. Is there
Mhm.
anything else you'd like to share? Or, I mean, I'm sure there's more. We could probably talk forever with this.
Everybody, just go within, trust what comes to you, trust what you feel, speak your truth, unite, no division.
So Arnie, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. It's so nice to meet you, because this was definitely a pleasure, and I learned, we each learned from each other. So I've learned a lot. And look out for Arnie and all the wonderful things he's doing. And I can't wait to see more of your decks. Actually, I have to purchase one. So just stay on for a moment. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you have an amazing time. I hope you enjoyed this and have a beautiful day. May you connect with your own magic while listening to Unhindered Soul, the Magic Within.